Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. Of course, taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about NXT this week with a thrilling Grayson Waller effect sequence between...
Oh, wow.
Braun Breaker, yeah! And Von Wagner, the dumpster champion. Before we get into that, though, we're going to talk about some details behind Saraya's clearance to come back to professional wrestling, in-ring performing. And we also got word on another NXT talent set for a main roster call-up. But first, let's talk about this. With Austin Theory's failed Money in the Bank cash-in this week on Raw. It's the thing everybody's talking about, man.
It really is.
The implementation of the Money in the Bank briefcase has been a topic of discussion in pro wrestling circles. Last week, WrestleVotes told Give Me Sport that WWE was considered nixing, killing the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and adding the Money in the Bank ladder match back to WrestleMania. They said this: putting Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, one night women's, one night men's, is something I've heard. I know since Hunter has taken over, the idea of one night women, one night men is alive. I don't think they're going to do that. Let's say Money in the Bank was scheduled for Allegiant Stadium. They're hoping to get 50,000 people. If you could do that on the back of Money in the Bank, I don't think you put that show in the garbage and put the matches at WrestleMania, end quote. So given that the last few Money in the Bank cash-ins have been pretty underwhelming, should WWE mix up the Money in the Bank formula and move the matches to WrestleMania? Should they keep Money in the Bank as its own themed show? Or should WWE just move on from the concept entirely, Larson?
So to get back to what WrestleVotes has to say here, it's interesting the example of Money in the Bank being at Allegiant Stadium. They tried to do that last year. This year.
Yeah.
It was scheduled 4th of July weekend, Allegiant Stadium. They didn't sell enough tickets to have it there. They had to move it to the MGM Grand.
Right, yeah.
I think they sold 20,000 tickets to the stadium show. So they moved it out of there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know WWE really wants to do a lot of the huge stadium shows for the spectacle of it. And I think you could do that for Mania. You could do that for the Rumble and probably SummerSlam. I kind of feel like that's it. Not every, at least here in the States. I know they'll maybe Clash the Castle will be an annual thing over the UK. You got a couple Saudi shows a year. Those are all going to be stadium shows. But here in the States, you can't expect to have half your pay-per-views here be huge stadium shows getting 50,000 people per show. You can only have so many destination shows per year. And that's what these shows have to be if you want to fill up these stadiums.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Money in the Bank in terms of, or has been, in terms of kind of like the creative cycles within WWE, has always felt like a major show because there's a lot riding on the Money in the Bank ladder match and who wins it in terms of how it's going to shape what's going to happen over the next year, creatively, potentially at least.
Yeah.
So the idea that you could successfully fill stadium with Money in the Bank by itself, I don't know. I'm pessimistic that's going to happen unless you stack the rest of the card like you would for Mania or SummerSlam. But then that's Money in the Bank is right in between those two shows.
What would be the benefit to putting it at WrestleMania and killing the pay-per-view? Because you're right about the Allegiant Stadium. I don't even really know why it's brought up. I think that, the idea that they were going to do, we had reported on this ages ago that they wanted eight pay-per-views throughout the year, stadium shows. They realized pretty quickly that ain't going to happen when they try to do that stuff with Money in the Bank. But let's just divorce ourselves from that for a second, and let's just examine the pros and cons of WrestleMania or Money in the Bank in general. I'm working on a Wrestle Juice video right now where I sort of go into some depth about it and I examine what could be done with it. But what you said is right. It's sort of more, the idea of Money in the Bank is a lot more interesting than the actual results we've seen from Money in the Bank. The last couple of years have been pretty underwhelming. Big E was, it was an awesome moment for him to win. But then what did they have him do? They just had him standing there giggling next to Paul Heyman, and Roman Reigns had the title, and Bobby Lashley had the other title too. He ended up cashing in on. And then when it came time, Vince McMahon just had him tweet out in the morning, "I'm going to cash in today on Bobby Lashley." And then he did that. And because we all love Big E, it was a cool moment to see him be WWE champion, but it lacked drama in every way, shape, and form. This is a new era, though, with Triple H. I don't know that there, besides the idea that night one, you have WrestleMania, you have Money in the Bank ladder match. Night two, somebody cashes in. That's kind of a cool idea. But dude, isn't Money in the Bank sort of like, hasn't it replaced Survivor Series in the big four pay-per-views as like interesting shit could possibly happen at this one show? You can spread that out. Like, you don't need it at WrestleMania. You can just put it on its own pay-per-view.
I'll use this as an argument to be, apart from what you said, have it at WrestleMania is winner or Rumble gets Mania main event. So then at WrestleMania also, you have someone who's guaranteed a title shot. And then if you assume that the Raw after Mania is like season premiere, reset button, I can see the advantage of having someone with that briefcase coming out the Raw after Mania and setting up their story.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Or, as you said, someone wins night one, cashes in night two. I could see the appeal of that.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of keeping WrestleMania not just a huge stadium show that's like the largest wrestling event in the world, but also a pivotal kind of fulcrum in the creative cycles within WWE. And having Money in the Bank tied to that, I can see why that'd be advantageous. It definitely doesn't make any sense to have a stadium show like right in between Mania and SummerSlam. That's just too much. That's too much to ask of your fan base to dump that much money into a destination show. But beyond that,
I'll counter with this real quick. I'll counter with this. If the creative is there and the demand is there, I could see them doing it. Because it does. There's from April to August. That's 4 months.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I confirm that.
Yeah.
Smack dab in the middle of that, the lull of the summertime. I could see if the demand is there, if the creative is like off the charts, which I don't know that it's going to be a year from now or whatever. Maybe when Triple H gets all his pieces in places and everything's just amazing, maybe I could see that being the case. But as of right now, the way it stands, I agree with you.
Well, especially this year where they had Money in the Bank beginning of July and SummerSlam at the end of July. 2 stadium shows in 1 month.
That was a lot. You're right.
Too much.
It's got to be, SummerSlam's got to be, like mid-August. And then you put Money in the Bank like maybe mid-June or beginning of June.
Early June, something like that. Yeah. As far as I still think there's a lot of potential to use with the Money in the Bank concept. There's a lot of stories I don't really feel like they've really explored over the last, 15, 17 years that Money in the Bank has been a thing. And I go back to this because I think it's just an interesting idea, and I can see why they may not want to do it, given that the winner of the Rumble it has a guaranteed title match at WrestleMania. Someone wins Money in the Bank and says, I'm cashing in there. I want that platform. I want the largest wrestling show of the year to be the moment where I'm crowned champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And having Money in the Bank be the means by which they get that opportunity. I think that's a cool idea. They haven't even thought about doing that.
Yeah, right.
Since Mr. Kennedy had it.
Yeah.
And he didn't even get to do it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a situation where they need to be a little more fluid with the idea of Money in the Bank. Like maybe instead of cash in whenever, guaranteed title shot at SummerSlam or something or rather than having a year to cash in, you get 90 days.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it feels like the year is too long.
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
Because we don't really get the story of someone waiting to the last minute and feeling the pressure. Oh, I have to use this so it's not wasted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's just a lot of story options seemingly on the table that they have yet to explore with Money in the Bank. That's kind of in my mind why I still find it intriguing, why I look forward to it. Because, maybe they'll finally do this year. Maybe someone who wins is going to be on the precipice of a huge story or a huge push. It'll culminate in their title win. It'll be really interesting rather than just having, hey, you're going to tweet out that you're cashing in because we're trying to pop a ratings number on Raw.
I would be shocked if that ever happened under Triple H. That was the most desperate, pathetic thing to put Big E through. I felt so bad for him because it was terrible. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that Triple H would do that. I think Triple H is a longer game guy, so to speak. Sorry, pun not intended. Duh. Yeah, that was awful. The Otis thing was awful. There's been a lot of awful lately, but I mean, I could see the intrigue in, let's say you have, let's say you got a Seth Rollins and I don't know, I'm just going to throw a name out there, Randy Orton, when Randy Orton comes back. And they're two guys trying to topple Roman Reigns. And at the end of the Rumble, or how about this? Cody and Seth Rollins, they're both in the Rumble. Cody ends up winning and moves on to that main event against Roman Reigns. Well, Seth Rollins, day one of WrestleMania, he wins Money in the Bank. And he's like, hey, I'm going to make this a triple threat the next night, whether he does it in the moment like he does in 2014, or if at the end of the Money in the Bank match, which makes WrestleMania a bigger deal.
Absolutely.
But it's already a big deal. So I don't know. I think it sort of depends on what the philosophy is. Are they going to go all in on making everything cool about WrestleMania? Or do you want to have that plum spot in the middle of the summertime where you have Money in the Bank there? I don't know.
Or just get rid of it entirely. Come with something else. Have King of the Ring be your late spring, early summer event. You know, there was talk, I think, from WrestleVotes too, that they were going to start making that a one-night tournament. Have whoever wins King of the Ring gets a title shot at SummerSlam guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Something like that. You know, maybe step away from the Money in the Bank concept for a little bit until you could find a way that it could be potentially implemented in more interesting fashion. Mm-hmm. And then bring it back.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I think it's my thing about Money in the Bank is that it has become pretty iconic over the past.
It has.
God, 17 years now. It's become ingrained. It is one of the few really, really good ideas that WWE has, initiated, executed. I guess Chris Jericho has taken credit or has been given credit for the idea, but credit to WWE for having a concept that's actually endured all these years, and it is a point of intrigue. It's not like the Royal Rumble has been all that great either with some of its, how it's treated some of its winners. I think as with everything, man, it's just sort of in the execution. I do think that it'd be more interesting the way New Japan handles the G1 briefcase, where it's almost mandatory at this point that it's defended in advance of Wrestle Kingdom. And I think if you did something along those lines with the Money in the Bank, where it's like, it's always defended, like somebody is going to get that, somebody's going to have a shot at taking that from the G1 winner. I think that could add some intrigue. So I think there's some things you could do besides killing it altogether, because it is an X Factor type situation. I think it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the concept of having it be defended, and not just some, through various machinations like how the Miz got it or Edge got it, but like it's built into the concept. Like you mentioned the G1 belt or the Gift of the Gods title from Lucha Underground, which it was their mid card title, but you could cash it in for the main title opportunity, and to do that would make it more interesting. And then if they're in a situation where we've seen, especially the last few years, where Vince gives somebody the briefcase that seemingly instantly regrets giving that person the briefcase, well, there's a built-in story mechanic by which you can get the briefcase off somebody, put it on somebody else. But at the same time, there's been times where he's had those feelings about someone who won the briefcase and they cashed in and it was all right. So then you might be deprived of those instances. But
I think like with everything, it all boils down to who's doing creative. It's like Vince McMahon obviously didn't consider Money in the Bank, especially the year Otis won it. It just seemed like, oh, this guy's funny. I don't think for a second Vince McMahon ever considered Otis to be like a world champion guy.
No, at no point did he ever have any plans about how to make him world champion either.
No, he didn't. It was just like, oh, this would be kind of funny, because it's a mad world situation with that cinematic Money in the Bank anyways. So let's goof it up by having a guy who should have won it, AJ Styles. It falls into the hands of Otis. And then we get that silly moment and then worry about it later. That was the situation where I hope that Triple H is going to, take more consideration into how this shit should play out.
Yeah, I hope so. Certainly hope so.
Let's talk about this. So during a Wrestling Observer's review of this week's NXT, Dave Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer himself, reported that Cameron Grimes set to be called up to the main roster after he finishes his feud with Joe Gacy, which, if yesterday is to be believed,
could be it.
Yesterday was Wednesday. 2 nights ago.
Tuesdays.
Yeah, NXT.
Tuesdays, yes.
They kept on saying, this is it. Joe Gacy got that win over Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes has been on the main event show in WWE, which usually is considered potentially a gateway to main roster, or in the case of Cedric Alexander or Shelton Benjamin, purgatory. for main roster, sadly.
Or in the case of a few people last year, seemingly if main event didn't go well, they were released.
Sad last days.
Yeah.
But no, Cameron Grimes. I think that he was at his most entertaining before he even got to WWE.
Yeah.
So I
TNA
really
superstar Trevor Lee.
Yeah. I hope that they don't keep him lobotomized superstar Cameron Grimes. I don't even know if you want to. I mean, I know Cameron Grimes is one of those guys. I wouldn't mind if he did the old Vince thing of just sort of like changing him a little bit from what we saw in NXT, because I think he's like less entertaining now.
Yeah, I know. Even like the when he was doing the stonks, you know, hey, I'm rich dude Cameron Grimes. At least it was a way for him to show his personality.
Yeah.
But it didn't really hit the same as TNA superstar Trevor Lee, you know?
No, it did. Yeah.
When he showed up at PWG shows, announced as TNA superstar Trevor Lee to get the heat.
Yeah. I was watching Impact at the time as well. And they had like the Cult of Lee and it was just really good stuff. He was just like a scumbag. Let him be a scumbag.
So, we've been talking about microdosing here on the show quite a bit lately, and how a lot of people, myself included, have been using microdosing to help them feel healthier and perform better. And I've learned firsthand the benefits of microdosing after using the sponsor of today's show, Microdose Gummies, over the last few days.
Man, I like to keep busy. Got a lot of stuff going here between our show, what we do over at the Friendo Club channel, Wrestle Juice, et cetera, et cetera. Plus, I got a lot of other stuff going on, but being that busy can also be overwhelming from time to time, and microdose gummies, entry-level doses of THC, have simply helped me chill out, focus, and even get those creative juices flowing so I can still be productive without feeling stressed out about everything I got to do.
Yeah, I've often talked about dealing with anxiety and having trouble sleeping, and since I've been using microdose gummies this week, I've noticed that it's been easier for me to decompress and just relax. And I've gotten some of the best sleep I've had in a long time. Microdose is available nationwide. To learn more about microdosing THC, go to microdose.com and use code RAW to get free shipping and 30% off your first order.
Links can be found in the show description, but again, that's microdose.com, code RAW. This was pretty interesting too. Saraya, of course, obviously announced on last night's Dynamite that she's been officially cleared to compete. And she appeared on the most recent episode of The Sessions to talk about that process. These transcripts come to you via Fightful. Larson, would you like to read this transcript here?
Sure, I can do that. This is what Saraya had to say. Quote,
goddamn, this is long.
It's a lot, but it's interesting stuff. So this is what Saraya had to say. I came to terms with not being able to wrestle anymore, and that's fine. But a couple of years ago, I did do some x-rays, and they were looking great. I didn't do the full MRI, just the x-rays. It's not like a perfect read on the neck with the whole fluid thing. X-rays is just the bones, and MRI you can see everything, the inner workings of the neck. The important part, like how much fluid is around there. It's crazy. I was nervous about doing the MRI a couple of years ago, but the X-ray was looking good. Maybe in a couple of years it'll start looking better. I wasn't going to rush it because Edge was out for 9 years. Stone Cold had the match with Kevin Owens, but he didn't bump very much. It was limited, but it was still an amazing match. I thought I could probably pull off doing a Stone Cold match. I'm throwing that idea at Tony Khan, and he was like, with Sting coming in, we did tag matches. Maybe we could do tag matches. I was like, if I were to come back, I'd want it to be a singles match. I remember talking to the doctors, and they're like, you can do this, but we're not going to clear you to take a bump. That's the whole misconception with how the internet works. She talked to 25 doctors, and AEW doctor Doc Sampson cleared her. He didn't clear me for anything. I went out there with Britt. We did our own thing. I didn't ask for clearance from the doctor there. I'm going to be honest. He was cool with it. Just please don't take a bump. It was, if you want to actually have matches, we have to get you completely clear. That means MRI, CT scan, everything. I don't want to go to the doctor that is associated with wrestling because I feel like there's bias there. I don't want to make the same mistake where I came back and I'm wrestling every day. I want to be aware and careful of my neck this time. I want to get to the nitty gritty of what it looks like and how much I can do. And if I'm going to be paralyzed, that was the biggest scare. If I did wrestle, I could potentially get paralyzed. She continues, Halloween, I went to the doctor in California, one of the best around. If anyone is going to tell me no, this guy is going to tell me no because his job is on the line. I got the x-rays done. These are great. We have to triple check with CT scans and MRI. I did the CT scan and MRI within the same hour. It was very quick. He sat there. We went through them all, and he went, you're cleared. I burst into tears. Are you serious? I was still asking questions about the fluid around my neck. It was just the fluid was back. The fusion was perfect. There were no fractures above or below. Let's talk about paralysis. It's rare. If you get kicked there, you have cushion now. If you ever feel like you're not feeling too well, take some time off. You know your body. I will clear you to get back in the ring. How many matches can I have? Take it easy, do 1 match a month, and gradually start building it up. Long story short, Halloween is when I got the full clearance.
That's really interesting stuff. It's interesting that they brought her in, and this was reported by Fightful. You know, it was like, well, with the idea that hopefully she'll be able to wrestle. But they brought her in, which was a really smart move because she's a big deal.
Yeah.
This is awesome because this is the kind of like detail that me as a fan who doesn't want to be sitting there thinking that I'm going to watch somebody break their neck and become paralyzed can now sit there and watch her match against Britt Baker at Full Gear and say, okay, this person has a clear understanding of what they can do, what they should do, what this stretch of time is going to look like, 1 match a month. And that, you know, these things that she's been told by the doctor, if you get kicked here, there's protection now. This is it. Honestly, as a fan, I like to hear this stuff. It puts me a bit at ease, you know.
It does. And in another interview she did recently, she talked about, you know, not taking a bunch of like German suplexes, you know, stuff like that. Like she seems very cognizant of even though she's been cleared, protecting her neck and not taking any unnecessary bumps, doing everything that she needs to do to protect herself in the ring. And that's fantastic. You know, she's still, I think she's 30.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, last thing you want to see is anybody get hurt in the ring.
Yeah.
And it is reassuring to know that, you know, she went through like an extensive clearance process. You know, rather than just having, you know, she mentioned this here, having the perception would have been if Doc Samson had given her the thumbs up, people like, well, of course, Doc Samson's going to clear you, works for AEW, but you know, she went to her own independent doctor. I'm not trying to say like,
yeah, but you know what? The moment that for me, again, as a fan watching, when Matt Hardy hit his head on concrete and then he was like, okay, you're good, you know? And it's like, why would you? And he's stumbling around and shit. And I think Rebby was going off on Twitter. Like, why would you do this? I'm sorry, but at that point, that dude had a reputation with me personally as a fan. Like, I don't. And so that's kind of a natural sort of assumption to make is, okay, well, is AEW is that gonna be the extent of it? It's like, no, man, she went out and found,
she went out of her way to find like by the sounds of it, the best person to do this testing.
Yeah. So that is, it's good. It's good to hear. It's like, you know, man, I've seen, I forget who it was, people on Twitter, you know, saying, oh man, this is a bad idea. You know, I mean, you know how like wrestling Twitter can be so shitty in the first place, but it's like, and then I saw somebody respond to that with, I don't remember this level of concern about Edge coming back. Well, there's a couple differences. Number one, there was concern when Edge came back from a lot of people that I saw, but number two, like with Saraya, we saw it happen in the ring with that like house show footage of her getting kicked from behind and then her going down. And that shit is scary. I know Edge showed up one day. It was like, my neck is bad. They've told me I can't do this anymore. I didn't see him get fucked up in the ring. We didn't know it because he told us that it happened. So there's kind of a difference there. Like for me, again, ingesting this stuff and seeing somebody get hurt, you know, through shaky house show footage. Yeah. I want to make sure that this person, that doesn't happen to them again. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I guess we could talk NXT now.
Oh yeah, sure.
It happened. It was a show. We're getting Vaughn versus Braun for the title, I think, next week.
Yeah, man. There's one person who should take that title off of Braun Breaker. It's Carmelo Hayes.
Yep,
that's it. And I do appreciate during the barbershop sequence, he was like, "I made this title more relevant than the NXT title," which he's right. But here's the thing: I want him to beat Braun Breaker, and I want him to take that NXT title. That would be great. I'd probably prefer him to do that than go to main roster. To be honest with you, I want to see him anchor NXT, man.
Yeah. That'd be pretty awesome.
We had a big turn, you know, similar to we had Samoa Low turn on AEW.
Or Joe, yes.
Well, we had Team Cronus break up, Zoe Stark.
Yes, saw this coming a mile away.
This we saw this happening probably like when they first were just thrown together for that SmackDown thing that never happened.
Yeah.
The women's tag tournament that never happened. Or them going into it anyways. So yeah, they Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark. They broke up. Zoe Stark attacked Nikita Lyons. Was this the right move, making her a bad guy instead of Nikita Lyons a bad guy?
No.
Should have been Nikita Lyons.
Yeah, me personally, no. I know they have seemingly have huge plans for Nikita.
Yeah.
And so I guess in that sense, it makes sense maybe to keep her as the face in this feud. But at the same time, how many times have we said the clearest kind of path to get to super over babyface is to build someone up as the heel and get them over as the heel, and then they transition to a face, and then they're super over.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work for everybody. I understand.
Nikita's already really over though. And here's the thing about Zoe Stark. As a face, she's just been a bit on the boring side.
No, I understand that.
I don't
Maybe
know
as,
if this
as
is gonna...
a heel, it'll allow her to have more fun.
Maybe. I hope that they don't do the thing where she just tries to be mean, because I also feel like that is not really going to work, because I don't know. It's like when AJ Styles tries to be mean. It's like, it doesn't really work. But when he's snarky as a bad guy, it kind of works. Hopefully they just allow her to have some personality.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, we saw this shit happen. It coming a mile away. I'm trying to see other stuff. JD McDonough stretched the living shit out of Axiom.
It's the same spot they did in NXT UK. They did the same spot.
It was great. It was great then. It was great here, because like this crowd might not be hip to what happened in NXT UK because nobody watched that show except for you and me.
Yeah. To see somebody's foot basically right next to their hip.
Oh my God. It is an impressive feat that dude can do that. It is so absolutely like disgusting. It's like when Alexa Bliss does that fucking arm thing.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I like that. What else was going on here? You're right in that the real estate lady wants the bar.
Yeah.
Good job calling that one out.
Yeah. I based that on the fact that she looked at the Chase U blueprints once.
Yeah.
It's like, she doesn't want the building. She wants the land underneath it.
She wants the land underneath it. Yeah, absolutely. A riveting
she
real estate.
What did she say? Develop apartments there or something
What
like
do
that?
you think Shawn Michaels watched to inspire this storyline?
Maybe he didn't necessarily watch anything. Maybe he's driving down some part of Orlando.
Okay.
And maybe there was a spot in Orlando for the longest time. There was, I don't know, whether it was a bar, a little grocery store, a liquor store, something that had been there as long as he'd been in Orlando.
Yeah.
Maybe he stopped in to the grocery store one time, get a loaf of bread or something. I don't know. And he's driving by one day and saw that it's closed, and it has how they'll have fence around areas they're developing, and they'll have the little picture of what's going to be there. And it says in there, coming soon, such and such apartments or such and such condos or something. He's like, that's a bummer. This little grocery store that's on my drive home. Mm-hmm. I can't stop and pick something up now because some developer bought the land to build a bunch of apartments. Yeah. That's a bummer. Yeah. I'm going to use that in the story.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Just taken from real life, man. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do, Heartbreak. Just, you're moving through your world. Duh. Yeah. I don't know. That whole the bar sequence. Is this me? Is Briggs like the most annoying friend in the world? God damn it. Jensen can't get one fucking word in. And Briggs is like, hey, man, why are you doing that? I'm like, fuck you.
It's like, get out of my business, man.
I'm bricked up, man. I'm Brick Jensen.
There you go.
Let me try to spit some game over here, dude. God dang, Briggs. Ease up a little bit.
I know.
Let your boy try to get some. Anyways, it kicked off with Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy's not wearing the business casual anymore. He's not a waiter anymore.
He's got the trunks. He's got the vest on for the entrance gear.
So much better.
It is better. I like the presentation changes they're doing with Schism now.
Yeah.
Like their Tron's cool. Like the song was always pretty solid, but like all the Tron stuff's cool, and then all the entrance geared stuff. It's a step in the right direction.
Ava's got a great presence. Ava Raine has got a great presence. There's always that element of she's like, she's kind of a big deal. Like she's the Rock's kid, It's like she adds that element of like, I don't know, legitimacy or whatever you want to call it. And she just has a good presence, and I think it adds. Yeah. When it was just the grizzled young veterans, it was like, man, we know who these guys are. They're goobers, they're dorks.
Yeah, especially when their previous gimmick was grifters.
Yeah, right, exactly. Low level grifters. But with Ava Raine there, they sort of have a little bit more heft. They got a little bit more gravitas, I guess, or weight, or whatever you want to call it. Adds to the tension. So anyways, Joe Gacy gets the win here thanks to a distraction from James Drake. What's his name now? Jagger Reed. Yeah. While Ava pushes Grimes off the top rope. And then Gacy hits his finish to get the win here. So hopefully that's the end of this thing here.
And we might be seeing Cameron Grimes on the main roster sooner rather than later.
Bring him my stonks.
To the moon.
To the moon.
After that, Nathan Frazier's backstage. He's exiting the trainer's room. Axiom is there to see what's going on. So Axiom asks, what do they say? And Frazier says that they said it'll still be a few more weeks before I'm cleared. And then Axiom says, hey, man, you'll be back before you know it. Then JD steps in.
Yeah, JD steps in, and he's like, he says, hey, leave the medical timelines to the experts. He says, you might be one of the smarter guys around here, but you know nothing about that 4-letter word pain. And Frazier's like, I'm not going to tell you how hurt I am. Or no, he says, Frazier's not going to tell you how hurt he is. He says, let me guess. And he does like a medical assessment just on site. And he's like, I'm thinking a herniated disc, maybe your C4. And Nathan Frazier's like, oh my God, how did he know that?
Wow. And he's got X-ray on it.
Right. He's like that old ad in the comic books. So, anyways, the JD says,
Well, he says Axiom, wouldn't have done he wouldn't have won. Sorry, if Axiom had won the best of 3, he still would have lost in the North American ladder match. Essentially, is what he said.
Yeah, and then Axiom's like, I would have pulled a JD McDonough then. So close. He says, so close, time and time again, but failed to walk away with a title. JD gets pretty pissed off of this. And he says, maybe I should break you up so you can spend some time with Frazier in medical. And then Axiom's like, we'll see who feels more sane. And then JD's like, yeah, we will. We'll see.
Yeah.
When are
they going to get that mask off A-Kid and let him be A-Kid?
I don't know, man. When he's I don't know.
Maybe they'll write him off because JD tore up his knee and he'll come back as A-Kid.
He'll come. It was a different guy now. Yeah. He's like, I ran off Axiom. And now you're here. And he's like, yeah, I'm a different guy.
I'm a different guy. You sound just like Axiom, not Axiom. A-Kid.
I'm not.
Yeah,
they're like, okay, put a piece of fabric next to your up against your mouth and talk. He's like,
I don't want to.
Not gonna do it. Different guy.
Pass. Not going to do that. Yeah. Why? That doesn't make any sense. Why would I do that? Not Axiom, clearly. A-Kid.
After that, we had one of these awesome Carmelo Trick barbershop segments.
These are fantastic.
The barber was getting a little mouthy here, wasn't he?
Yeah, Josh.
Yeah. What the hell, Josh? So Trick says, Mello, the streets are talking. He says, and Mello's like, what are they trying to say? That I didn't win the North American title back? What's next move? And Trick says, well, they ain't wrong, but they ain't right either. And Mello says, well, they're not right because I'm sitting here without my North American title, the title that I put on the map, title I made famous, title I made more relevant than the NXT title. He says, no one's pinned me for that title. And Trick says, it'd still be yours if it wasn't for all these ladders. And he says, when I went one-on-one with Grimes, I did what I said I was going to do and got the title back. He says, but I got to put respect on Wes Lee's name real quick. He says, because he went into hell and back and he won the North American title, but one thing he didn't do is beat me. And until he beats me, he's not the A-champ, he's the paper champ. Trick says he's a transitional chump. And the barber says, yeah, but you got to give it up to Wes, though. He's got the whole NXT universe behind him. Record scratch. Trick says, what the hell, Josh? He says, I'm just speaking facts. And then Mello acknowledges that. He's like, yeah, he might have the whole NXT universe behind him. He says, but what's Lee going to do when it's just us in the ring? Where's the whole NXT universe going to be then? He says, Wes is a good tag team guy, but until he beats me in the ring, 1, 2, 3, what is this? You are not him.
You're not him.
You're not him. Yeah.
As in saying Wesley's not going to be the guy.
Not the guy, yeah. And then Mello says, everybody knows it's going to be a short title reign. Imagine what's going to happen when we square off one-on-one with the title on the line. And then Josh says, how long are you going to let Lee hold the title? Trick says 2 weeks tops. He says, besides, the title looks better on us anyways. And then Mello says, we're going to have a contract signing next week to make that match official.
Yep. It's fantastic. These segments are always awesome.
I hope they carry him over to main roster when he goes there.
I hope so.
Because they had a lot, yeah.
Then we have Scripps taking over the Tron and the Performance Center.
Yeah.
Just kind of more foreboding words about Scripps' imminent arrival.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. It was like a whole fucking poem that he wrote on the Tron.
Yeah.
We're going to show up and then it's going to be making right.
It sounded like a different voice was being masked this time, though.
I feel like every week it's like a different voice.
Could be. It's like what they were doing with
what if Scripps is a faction? Yeah, man. Scripps is not a person. It's a lifestyle, man.
After that, we had Sol Ruca take on Elektra Lopez. Elektra got the win here, hitting a choke bomb to get the W. Then Indy Hartwell comes to the ring, lays out Elektra from behind. They brawl on the floor. Refs come out to break them up. Then we get Chase U backstage.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thea Hale says, Dempsey showed what kind of coward he was when he attacked you, Mr. Chase, from behind. And if you don't get him, let me at him.
Yeah.
Let me at him.
And then Duke pipes in. He's like, when you sent me to the back last week, that was a teachable moment. He says, I learned that we only win or lose between the ropes. So tonight I want to be ringside with Thea, but to support and only support. And as Andre holds up the integrity of Chase U against Dempsey. And then he says, when Charlie attacked Chase, he attacked all of Chase U. Spam the face of everybody who wore the U on their chest. You've beaten him before, you'll do it again. And then Chase says, I'm going to give Dempsey Chase U size ass whooping. That happened later.
That did happen later. But first, we got a Toxic Attraction FaceTime call between Mandy and JC. So JC is just leaving the mall. She's talking about how she's nervous about going to the arena because of Alba. Gigi has 3 cracked ribs based on getting put through the table last week. And Mandy's like, come over here. Just come to my house.
Yeah.
And she goes, JC says, hold up. A mall cop just pulled up behind me.
Uh-oh.
And mall cop walks around. It's Alba Fire. She pulls JC out of the car, attacks her. Alba gets in the car, tells Mandy that I told you I was going to take each of you out one by one. Last week, Gigi. Today, JC. Next week, I'm taking your title.
So I kind of appreciated a couple things here. Number one, when they did like a split screen thing like you see here, right? Mm-hmm. Except when Alba showed up, her little border like went whoosh,
and then her name changed from JC to Alba, yeah.
Number two, kind of interesting, adding some depth to Alba Fire. She's also a mall cop. I did not know that. So that's
I guess maybe they don't pay people too well at NXT.
That's sort of always the theme with NXT is that they pay them shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's got to take the second job as a mall
Alba
cop.
Fire has to moonlight as a mall cop, yeah.
What mall is that? Because, man, I would not want to steal anything from any of the Hot Topics or Spencer Gifts from that particular mall, man.
Nope.
Pretzel time. How much for these pretzels?
Steal from pretzel time? I'm talking about prison time.
You're doing real time. Yeah, you're doing Alba Fire time, which is at the end of a baseball bat. That's on fire. After that, we had Charlie Dempsey versus Andre Chase. And this, once again, that white towel, which back in the UK would make an appearance every month at least.
Yeah.
So
Mustache
Dempsey,
Mountain match every time.
Yeah, Dempsey had Chase in a submission. Duke was like trying to put the ropes closer to Chase, but Andre was like, no, don't do it. We got to do it above the board here, or whatever. And then Hudson grabs the white towel from Thea, looks at it, and he throws it in. And the ref is like, oh no, match is over. Dempsey wins. And then Chase is like, what the hell happened? He says, I didn't quit. And Duke is like, yeah, well, sorry about that.
Well, it's interesting because it looked like Chase was trying to fight his way out of the hole too.
It looked like he was getting close to the ropes, and he was fighting his way out. Yeah. But Duke, he's trying to what is Duke's end game here? What is he doing? I mean, obviously he's undermining Chase U, but is this for shits and giggles?
Yeah, I think so.
He doesn't want to take over the university. He thinks like the university scam is a good idea.
Oh, maybe.
Because that's clearly what Chase U was. You know, I will give it up to them. I will never forget when they brought in Thea Hale and did those awesome videos, and she was like, you know, I've been here. I came in from high school, but now I got to figure out which college I want to go to, just with a straight face.
Yeah, I mean, they did it like when people commit, you know, like to schools.
Yeah,
athletes with the 3 hats out there.
I was like, oh, this is actually a pretty cool, you know, this is a cool way of going about it. Maybe she's going to go to a good school and WWE at the same time. No, she went to Chase U. God damn it, they got me on that one. That was so fucking good, man.
Yeah, it was pretty clever. Then we got an Indy Hartwell interview. She says, what you saw earlier is me finally understanding how this place works. Elektra had that coming. She said, I didn't forget what Lopez did to me. Lopez came back to NXT wanting to prove a point, but no one is going to prove a point on me. Can't count on anyone. You got to take what you want, because otherwise it's not going to happen. I'm locked in. You know, people say they're going to bet on themselves. Well, I'm putting the entire house on myself.
So is she like a good guy or a bad guy, or I don't know what? Indy, she's like the most lost wrestler. Like, she should have been on main roster like a year ago.
I know.
And she is just, they are so uncertain with what to do with her.
I know. It's a bummer because she's great.
Yeah. Yeah, she is. She's terrific. After that, we're at a bar with Briggs and Jensen and Fallon.
Fallon's family's bar.
Yeah, that's right, man. She talked about. So, anyways, the Briggs is talking sports, and then in the most jovial way possible. Oh man, Tom Brady finally getting a win or loss or whatever the fuck it was.
Something like that, yeah.
So Fallon says, look who just walked in. Look at these pieces of shit. And Kiana and her assistant, shorter Kiana, says, walk in. And they're like, oh, this property has promise. And Fallon's like, do you guys want a drink? And she's like, I didn't come to drink. Did you think about my proposal? And Fallon says, yeah, my answer is no. And then No's like, that's not the answer I'm looking. Kiana says, that's not the answer I'm looking for. Did I say no? Says that's the.
Yeah.
So No says this. Yeah. Kiana says that's not the answer I'm looking for. I see potential in this property. She says, I've offered you more than what it's worth. And Fallon's like, this place isn't for sale. Over in that corner over there, my dad taught me about pool. And then my uncle used to crack nuts with me over there. And there was a bathroom over there where I took a shit in once because I was sick and it was sprayed all over the walls. It's like, what? She is going into depth here with some of these conversations. Oh,
wow. Then Kiana says, well, I'm going to build apartments here so your family can live in those apartments. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
And it says, this is my final offer. And Fallon says, no thanks.
No. Get out of here.
And then Kiana says, well, you and your family continue living their miserable lives, land rich but money poor.
But the entire time throughout this, Jensen keeps on trying to talk and spit some game at Kiana and the Kiana assistant. And Briggs is like, man, what are you doing, man? Stop what are you doing? And it's like, Briggs, fucking relax, dude. Microdose, homie. Like, you chill out, please.
He's mellow.
Like, all he does is just shoot down poor Jensen. Let the man learn on his own. Maybe he'll get lucky one of these times.
You never know.
I don't know.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Guess who wrestled next?
People have to be so. If anybody listens to this fucking NXT review week to week, they've got to hate that shit.
They probably do. If anybody gets so this far in our recap.
Yeah.
Hank Walker.
Yeah. I just assume nobody's paying attention at this point because it's a Hank Walker match.
Hank Walker takes on Stax. Stax has to poke Hank Walker in the eye to get the win here. Eventually hits his finish. Huge win for Stax. Mm-hmm. Kind of back to the drawing board for Hank Walker.
Maybe get some actual wrestling gear. How about that?
That'd probably a step in the right direction.
Like, we don't need to see you take your shirt off every week. Just put on some wrestling clothes. Even a fucking property of WWE shirt and like some shorts and and wrestling boots. Do something here, man. Why would I do that? After that, oh, good Lord. The Grayson
I will
Waller
say
effect.
this didn't go on and on as long as some of the other episodes have.
That's true. And I'll be honest with you, Von Wagner and Braun Breaker are two of my favorite impressions to do. So them just in the same spot, I didn't hate this. Von is getting better on the mic, by the way. Compared to like when he first showed up.
I mean, he's more comfortable. He's still got a long way to go to be convincing.
He is more comfortable, though.
But he's still not terribly convincing.
I mean, they're kind of one and the same thing, aren't they? Like, if he's comfortable,
Well,
I think saying has conviction behind it.
No, I don't really feel like there was much conviction behind what he was saying.
Some of his body language still seemed uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, he'd move around in his chair a little too much. It's like, why are you so antsy?
Maybe it's an uncomfortable chair.
He's a big guy. He's probably uncomfortable a lot. He's probably, like 6'5", 6'6", maybe taller
Something like that. Yeah, he's a tall dude.
Yeah. So anyways, okay, let's see how we can speed run.
So Waller just introduces them. Mm-hmm. So they all come to the ring.
Waller says the NXT universe, he's showing a tweet. Yeah. And it says, you don't, this guy thinks that you don't deserve a title shot. And so Von Wagner, even though the name is clearly up there, he says, wow, who's that? What's his name? Joe Blow?
That was awful.
Breaking news. More people don't like Von Wagner. Nobody likes me. I smell weird. I hang out near the dumpsters. Big deal. All right. And then Stone says, NXT universe never gave you a chance, Von. They're jealous of you because you're once in a generation athlete. And he says, hey, I'm not here to popular. People can piss him on all we want. But at the end of the day, Joe Blow's not here. I'm here. I'll take on Joe Blow for the NXT title. And then Braun's like, yeah, you're so strong and dangerous. And then Stone's like, more stronger and dangerouser than you. And he's like, yeah, try that crap you pulled next week to my face. Attack me from behind to my face. And Braun's like, he's like, NXT's all about future. A year ago, it was me, and now I found out if you want something this business, you got to take it. You want a dog, get a friend. And this NXT's title history goes back a long way to other people. Says, all of them are in the same spot I'm in now. I got a bunch of people breathing down on my neck, but no one's taking the title from you. And then Von's like, I'm dangerous. First time I stepped to this building, I got a title shot. I had to deal with Tommaso Ciampa and Pete Dunne. And he was like, wait, his name's Butch. You just, I'm going to tell on you. You said his name. And then next week, it's just two of us. I'm going to ragdoll you around the ring, Braun Breaker. And then Braun gets up and Von steps to him. Stone's like, Von, wait next week. And then Braun slams Stone's head into the table.
It was no look, too. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It's like two complete morons talking to each other. That's how it sounded. I'm sure they're cool, nice, and smart guys. But as far as the characters that I saw on the screen, it sort of just seemed like two idiots talking to each other, man.
Yeah, kind of.
Sprinkled with some Grayson Waller in there, too.
Yeah. Then we had a Wes Lee interview. He says, I can't lie. Being the champ is history book stuff's not winning last week hurt. But I've been thinking about what Melo had to say, and he's right. Melo was never pinned for that championship. He made the North American title the title in the process. Said that my career was supposed to be over in April, but I'm still here. This tag competitor was never supposed to hold singles gold, yet here I am with the North American title over my shoulder. And in 2 weeks, I go one-on-one with a man who has been untouchable for over a year, but somehow I'm going to make Melo miss. Next week, Carmelo wants to make it official, but no matter what Carmelo does, it's not going to throw me off because I'm going to roll like butter that you get once in a career, and not even Carmelo Hayes can stop it.
See, this feud should be for the NXT title.
Yeah, it should.
This should be like, these guys should be on the Grayson Waller effect.
Yeah. Wes Lee's done some awesome promo work the last few weeks.
I know. Like, he comes off like a real person, and so does Melo.
He comes off as genuine.
I know.
Every word
has
conviction.
Yeah. It's not just a couple, like, my one-dimensional brutes that said, hey, who said that? Joe Blow? Hey, Joe Blow. I'm going to beat you up.
You'd said something like, oh, yeah, I think Von's really improved on his promos. And I hear him say in his first sentence is Joe Blow. I'm like, okay, show me improvement.
Okay, well, dude, here's the thing. Like, if you go, but he wouldn't have even been able to come up with Joe Blow a year ago. That's my point. He doesn't look. My bar is so low for Von Wagner. It is in the dirt. So when he gets in there and he gets on a mic and he doesn't sound completely and totally nervous, yeah, I'm going to give the guy some credit. Hey, they're going to bring me up to main roster.
I just think the timbre of his voice makes him sound nervous.
Joe Blow. Try to say that to my face, Joe Blow. Yeah, attack me from behind to my face. Anyways, after that, we had a video package recorded. Jay was talking shit about Wendy Chu. Said she wasn't very popular in high school. It made me laugh because she was like, back in high school, you're probably sitting next to your phone waiting for people to text you. And I was like, when I was in high school, I was waiting for people to call on our rotary phone.
Yeah.
Or maybe page me.
Texting.
Maybe page me, 143. Oh, you love me. That's so nice.
I didn't have it. I never had a pager. So.
I don't think I had a pager in junior college.
I
had a pager then. I did not have a pager in high school. We had internet in high school. I had in senior year, I think, we got a computer and we got AOL.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I was waiting for an email to come in.
There you go.
You've got mail. Anyways, after that, we had an Apollo Creed Twitter promo. He's in Africa looking for superstars. But then he made it all about himself. He was like, but I don't have to go to Africa to find the next NXT champion. I'm standing right here. It's like, man, you're supposed to be putting a spotlight on the awesome potential superstars that you're finding there. But now he's making it all about himself.
Then we had JD McDonough versus Axiom, where JD McDonough just tried to twist Axiom's knee until he seemingly snapped it.
Yeah, Booker T
this is a really good match.
So great too. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I heard a pop! I heard a pop!"
Oh, that was awesome. This match was really good.
Yeah,
it was really, really good. Some of the counter stuff that they were doing to each other was outstanding. But ultimately, yeah,
they really should have Booker T just get like a headset and like go into the ring.
Oh, it'd be so
and
good.
do commentary from there.
That'd be so good.
Oh, he's got him twisted up he's got him twisted up like a pretzel. Oh, I heard a pop. He's putting feet to woods.
Axiom is doing countered a Devlin side with a sleeper, transitions to an arm par. Well, JD gets out of that and starts really cranking on Axiom's leg till his foot is hitting the mat right next to his hip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's quite a sight. So the ref's like, you got to break this. He's going to get hurt. And JD does. He's about to stop the match, but Axiom's like, no, don't stop it. He tries to stand up, can't. Pleads with the ref, don't stop it. Trainers come over. He's telling them, no, don't stop it. Tries to get up, he can't. Ref calls for the bell. So then JD grabs the mic and says, you know what there is? That's a severe strain, not a tear, because I'm a nice guy. But I'm not a nice guy when the necessary evil comes out when someone stands between myself and the NXT title. Don't believe me? Ask Ilya. He's still in the hospital 3 weeks later. This is a message to the rest of the roster. Please, someone get on my level. Someone test me. I'm looking at you, Apollo.
Oh, yeah. After that, we had a video package about Brutus Creed and Damon Kemp and their backstory, because Damon Kemp was about to get an ass whooping. First, we had a little thing that said, next week, HBK issues a statement about NXT Deadline. What do you think?
It'd be cool if it was like a stipulation pay-per-view, like a Deadline, you think, Beat the Clock Challenge.
Yeah, right. That's good.
Whole pay-per-view around Beat the Clock Challenge.
Pay-per-view. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're going to take it on the road somewhere. When's Deadline?
December 10th. Like every other wrestling show in the month of December.
I know, right? What the hell?
Including ACW, Resurgence.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Resurgence. Sacramento, California. I'm not really in the promotional mood right now. So just look, get these tickets.
Oh, just mentioning it. Eventbrite. Go look for tickets.
We're winding down an NXT review here, so I'm just my energy level so low. I'm so hungry.
I mean, you put a lot into those Braun and Vaughn impersonations. So
I feel like I really gave it all I had
you
there.
Might need a nap after this.
I'm gonna eat. That's what I'm gonna do. I had a breakfast sandwich at like 9. I've not eaten since then.
Wow.
Oh, my stomach's off the hook right now.
Yeah. What are you gonna have?
Oh, I should go get a giant bag of Fritos and just eat that.
That sounds good. Get like some dip or something for it.
I really shouldn't do that.
Some nacho cheese dip.
That sounds
Oh,
amazing.
no, you should do is get some chili.
Oh, I have some here.
Chili and Fritos.
Some Stag. That sounds so good. I might do that.
There you go.
After that, we had Brutus Creed and Damon Kemp. This is just Brutus. This is his 5 minutes alone with him.
It wasn't even 5 minutes. This whole thing lasted, I think, 2.5 minutes because it was like 90 seconds of Brutus beating the hell out of Kemp.
But didn't they have like the clock on there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At 2.5 minutes is when Brutus got DQ'd for hitting him with the chair.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I guess that, if you want to look at this a certain way, you could say Brutus still has 2.5 minutes with David Kemp.
Oh, he should cash that in. He should be like, I still got it. The cooler thing, though, is after that, like, I don't like it. I like Damon Kemp. He didn't deserve this. But he blasts him with a chair a bunch, DQ. But then our dudes, Veer and Sangha, on the perch, looking down. Man, I want these guys are going to run through the Creed brothers. Probably not. The Creeds are probably going to come. But hopefully do a couple matches where the first one, Veer and Sangha, just annihilate them.
I know.
That'd be great.
I want huge things for Veer and Sangha.
Oh, man, huge things. They're money. They're money.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. We got a Dijak video package. Got a little glimpses of his face.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, I know where you should go. I know if you're hungry where to go. I just want some fries. That's right. It's Arby's night. The authority says get some Arby's.
There we go. If there's any justice for your stomach, you'll get Arby's.
I'm an authority on roast beef. After that, Roxanne Perez walks up to Indy, says, "Are you all right? You've been different lately. Is there anything going on? You can tell me." And Indy's like, "Fuck off."
Pretty much.
There's no friends in this business.
It's like YPMP.
Right, exactly. It's like our biggest downfall is thinking we become champs while having soft spots and concerns to someone else. So Roxanne, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
After that, Team Cronus
versus
Caden Carter and Katana Chance. Of course. So what was the actual finish here?
So the whole idea of this seemingly was like either Nikita or Zoe were having to make the save for each other throughout.
Yeah.
Like they'd be in some sort of dire straits. The other person would break up the pin or break up a move or something.
They like accidentally like almost hit each other.
Yeah. And then even then Nikita moves Zoe out of the way. She eats a couple of super kicks from Chance and Carter. She tumbles out of the ring. So then Chance hits Zoe with a DDT. Chance and Carter follow with their finish to get the win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I wonder if the idea is going to be Zoe's going to get on the mic on Tuesday and say, all this I did for Nikita to help us get the tag titles. And then at the moment when it counted most, she wasn't there for me. Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Yeah. Because afterwards, the Lions gives the belt to Chance, and then Zoe blasts Lions with the other title.
Well, Zoe takes the tag titles from the ref. The idea that they're going to present them to the champs.
Yeah. But then, Whoopah lays out Nikita with the title, and then tries to hit Carter and Chance with it too, but they get out of there. And then Zoe hits the Lions with a Shining Wizard. Yep. So, that team is donezo.
Excuse me. They are. I think we got a couple questions here on this NXT thread we can answer.
Yeah, that'd be great. Let's see what we got here.
We have exactly two. David Matushek says, if Von Wagner somehow wins the NXT championship, would it be possible to retire the dumpster champ gag? No. If anything, the NXT championship would be, from that point on, the dumpster championship.
The championship, yeah. And then he'd have to take on Joe Blow for the unified dumpster champ. Hey, Joe Blow. Who said that? Joe Blow. I was like, oh, fuck, that's good.
That was so bad.
That's gold, Vaughn. That's gold.
So bad.
And I was like, it says the dude's name up there. Who's Joe? Oh, Joe Blow. Hey, who said that, Joe? Joe Blow. Damn, Vaughn's killing him out there, man. Savage Von Wagner on the mic. Joe Blow.
Is he going to become an insult comic next?
Right, yeah. I can see Von Wagner becoming like a Gallagher type, like a prop comic.
Yeah.
Hey, look at this watermelon. I'm going to smash it now. It's going to get all over you.
And he smashes it. Yeah. Laughs and Sue, huh?
Yeah. Hey, somebody else got another like melon or something? Yeah, I'm going to smash that too. Come here, bring it here. Where's Joe Blow? I'm going to make sure he gets some of this on him. Hopefully you brought a tarp.
Luis here asks, how would you fix trash tier cash-ins? Don't do them.
Yeah, stop doing them. Okay, so our trash tier was Otis. It would have been AJ Styles.
Should have been AJ Styles. You got that right.
Yeah. But I saw the writing on the wall on that one, buddy. Another trash tier cash-in.
Should not have been Theory. Should have been somebody else.
No, Theory was a good... This would have been the year you just don't do Money in the Bank. Roman's got the title. Just don't do Money in the Bank.
Well, wasn't Drew in the match? I thought they were going to have Drew win it and cash into Clash at the Castle.
Oh, that
Drew
would
was
have
in
been
the match.
No, you're right.
That
Would have been the way to go. He says, I'm gonna cash in. He did on the RVD thing on my home turf in the UK. You're right.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Who else was on
Kennedy?
That tier?
Get a better doctor assessment.
Yeah. Actually do like an MRI or something instead of just saying.
I really wonder if they would have gone if McMahon really liked him that much that he was like, yeah, he's going to go to WrestleMania and be the main event.
Yeah, I don't know. Baron. There could have potential with Baron, but
Baron could. He should have won that shit. He should have won that shit. Jinder shouldn't have been. Yeah, nah, man. He should have won that shit. Take that
Braun.
title off
They shouldn't have booked Braun like an absolute idiot. That's what did him in.
Well,
and then
it's
turn
kind
him
of
heel
his
at the
thing,
end.
though, isn't it? Like he's kind of a dummy.
Well, there's
The problem with that was like the fucking DQ of the match. They threw the match out.
no. There was a lot of problems before all that.
When Braun, it jumped a shark when Braun threw the briefcase.
When Brock threw the briefcase. Up
Sorry,
the stage,
Brock
yeah,
threw the
SummerSlam.
briefcase,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's because Braun apparently had no idea how to cash in.
I think it all went downhill with that when Brock punched him in the face and almost knocked him out.
Gave him the receipt and almost knocked him out in the middle of a match. Whenever I see that GIF, I watch that at least 5 times.
It's one of the best gifs. I need to do that for a raid. I need to like
because you could see
GIF.
because Braun hits that knee on Brock and you can see Brock get mad.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
and then whoop-ha.
And he like barely put anything behind it, but he did put something behind it.
And Braun stumbles a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, what was that? Oof. Oh man, saw God for a second.
He had the vignetting in his vision.
He did. Yeah, he did. He went. I remember with that one of the video games, like the screen would go black and white. UFC. Yeah. It was UFC. The screen would start to go black and white. It's like, oh my God, no, I'm losing my
You're about to
color.
get knocked out.
Yeah. That was good stuff. Anyways, that's going to do it for us for today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.